to Stupid Ideas from Bad Creative, Season 2, Episode 3, or Episode 13, however you want to count it. I'm joined by Sid as normal. Hello, Sid.
How we going?
I certainly didn't just start this and have myself on mute or anything. That would not happen.
Far too good for that.
Yeah. So, this episode is on WCW and their business management that led to its death. Let's start by talking to Sid. What have you done recently? Just in
What
general.
have I done recently?
Yeah.
Obviously,
obviously you're traveling, so
obviously I'm traveling. So currently I'm living in Perth. I've been over here for about a month, or two. Yeah, I've lost track of time a bit there, but I've been working. Found a place to live, which is where I am now. Got myself a tattoo the other day. Just yeah.
Let's talk about some wrestlers. Do you know who Hulk Hogan is?
Of course.
Eric Bischoff.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah?
Somehow. I've heard Bischoff.
We've talked about him briefly,
Yeah.
I think, but not really.
Okay.
Let's see. Scott Hall.
Scott a who?
Scott Hall. Okay, he's a main character. Kevin Nash.
No.
No?
Definitely not.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Of course, yes.
Nature Boy Ric Flair.
No.
Okay.
I've heard of. Okay, yeah, push on.
Okay. What about Ted Turner?
Alright.
No? Okay. Well, let's get into it then. So, obviously, this is not really a stupid idea or a bad creative. It's a bit of both, I guess, because they had a lot of stupid ideas and a lot of bad creative. So, I think this qualifies. So, what happened was in the 90s, obviously, WWF, WCW, Monday Night War. Right? We've talked about this. They're on at the same time, different channels. And on June 17th, 1996, WCW has the higher ratings between the two. And this continues for, just take a guess, how many weeks?
6.
Up.
8.
All right, give me one final guess. It's higher than that.
14.
83 weeks.
Okay.
Yep. On April 13th, 1998, Raw won the ratings. They then traded wins back and forth until November 2nd, where WCW would never win the ratings ever again. So.
I'm sorry. 83 weeks, that's like saying, oh, my child is fucking 36 months old. No, your child is 3. Your child is 3 years old.
Yeah. So anyway, right now, do remember that WCW lost this, and yet they were in the lead for 83 weeks. Yeah, no,
Someone made a serious blunder. Like if they'd never been in the lead and then dipped,
who cares?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was like being 83 after a basketball game and then coming back to lose. 83 to nothing, and it's like Michael Jordan's playing against you. Oh, I shouldn't say that because Dennis Rodman does join WCW. Anyway, so after that, we're going to talk about the highs with WCW, which was that they started winning because they were providing a newer, edgier product that appealed to the 90s crowd. On top of that, they had Hogan, Hall and Nash. We've touched on 2 of those. You know who Hogan is. They formed the NWO, which was a big deal. So Scott Hall used to be WCW, WWF as Razor Ramon. Kevin Nash was Diesel. We will talk about that at some other point. Um, and so, when they all jumped ship to WCW, was looked at as them stealing three of their biggest stars.
Mhm.
Also, with that, Hall and Nash left WWE and they went WCW, and they portrayed a gimmick where they weren't supposed to be there. You know, they were invading the show, but they were signed to there, you know. And then they were talking about um, the third man. There was a third one of them. And eventually that led to Hogan debuting and the NWO took off. Also, in WCW, we had guys like Flair, Sting, the Four Horsemen, which includes Flair. Ahead of their time, Cruiserweight division, Stack Tag division, um, the NWO, and it was all booked quite well. And so, you know, WWE couldn't compete. Also, they had a lot of money because billionaire Ted Turner ran the whole thing. So, yeah, they had money. And at this stage, we're in '96. We don't really have Stone Cold Steve Austin yet. We don't exactly have The Rock because he's still Rocky Maivia. Kane's not debuted. Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart are at the top of the card. Triple H had to be punished for the curtain call incident, which involved Hall and Nash leaving. So that was a big thing where they were on a house show. It was the last show that Hall and Nash were going to be on. And so after the tag team match, it was a steel cage match. Triple H and Shawn Michaels versus Hall and Nash. They all hugged because they were all really good friends in the back. Broke kayfabe, and so because it was good guys and bad guys hugging each other. Shawn was a WWE champion, can't do anything to him. Hall and Nash are gone, can't do anything to them. So Triple H had to get punished. And he's also not the biggest star at this point either. Undertaker's doing Taker things because it's the Undertaker. Vince hasn't become Mr. McMahon yet. We'll get to that. So basically, your big stars in the WWF are Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Undertaker, Mankind. That's it. They're not putting on anything different from what we've seen previously either. And yeah, like I said, they just can't compete because they can't compete. So eventually we get the Attitude Era, which allows them to compete because they're now putting on an edgier product and they've got big stars now. But the ratings, like they don't win until '98 anyway. You know, they get close, but they don't win. In that time, WWE had fully embraced the Attitude Era. They had Austin, who becomes Stone Cold, whatnot, and they were making new stars. They were fully embracing what they had. WCW were not. They were sticking with old stars. NWO at this time, debuting in '96, were still on top and just added more members. WWE were obviously pushing new stars. You had New Age Outlaws, Kane, Godfather, Val Venis. We'll get to him. And pretty much everything they did got over because it just did. You know, they had the Godfather, who was a pimp, whose whole thing was he had a hoe train where he would come out and somebody's hoe train. Just a lot of girls. That's what they wanted to see in the 90s. Val Venis, alright, he was something thereabouts around a porn star. So, you know, he was
Right.
constantly talking about his big Valboski.
So these are very much the naughty '90s. These are
Yeah,
everything's sex and
yep. Yeah, so Val Venis has his big Valbroski, which I guess you can guess what
mhm
that is.
mhm
Kane was obviously Kane. New Age Outlaws were part of DX. DX was a big deal because they were all about doing stuff against the rules. So, you can't swear, so they're going to swear. Don't talk about sex, they're going to talk about sex. They like to make a lot of dick references. Their big catchphrase is "suck it." So, yeah. Also, at this time, WCW are leaking results from Raw because Raw is taped, WCW is live. Also, WCW, being a bit of a prick, decided let's go live 5 minutes earlier than Raw so that we can leak the results to Raw that starts in 5 minutes. Well,
That's
that would be good if it didn't make people want to watch the show like they did when they announced that Mankind was going to win the WWF title on January 4th, 1999, which saw 600,000 fans change the channel to watch him win.
So they went from trying to spoil the results to stop people from watching it to basically free advertising.
Yep.
They've basically advertised the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. That same night, WCW had Kevin Nash lay down for Hulk Hogan to win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship with a finger poke to the chest, also known as the finger poke of doom. So,
Which
they stood
I'm
in the
sure
ring.
at this point
And
everyone's
Hogan
seen a few times.
no, this hasn't happened, but Hogan and Nash stood in the ring. Hogan went poke in the chest. Nash fell over on the ground and let Hogan pin him. 1, 2, 3. That's the finger poker dude.
Your business strategy was, hey guys, this really exciting thing happened in the other one. Don't mind us. You should definitely watch us because we're gonna do this super lame thing with these characters that you've been watching for the last stupid amount of time.
Well, it's Hogan.
Hmm.
But yeah, so they went, Mankind, the people, the person that everybody loves, because Mick Foley, everybody loves, right?
Because that's right, yeah, everyone was, yeah.
Yep. Him, he's going to win the belt. Don't watch that. Let us show you what's real wrestling, because that's all fake, because that's been taped. So they've edited that you know what's going to happen over there. Watch our shit, where we're going to poke somebody in the chest and swap our world title. Anyway, other contributors to the downfall of WCW is that they would get big names from WWE, like Bret the Hitman Hart, who joined NWO, did nothing, and then got retired by Goldberg kicking him in the head, which caused a concussion, forced him to retire. They also fired Stone Cold Steve Austin, which allowed him to go to WWE, and, Stone Cold, isn't he? WCW also signed the major stars to contracts, which were not only stupid amounts of money, but Hogan in particular was on 40% of the company's earnings for every pay-per-view, which was about $600,000 a pay-per-view, without his base contract and merch sales on top of it. That was just that. He had his base contract and merch on top. And the big stars also had it written in their contract that they had creative control. So they could do whatever they wanted. Let's say Hogan goes, I want to win the world title, brother. Well, that would happen because Hogan said it, and Hogan has creative control. So, yeah. Also, if he said, I don't feel like losing today, brother, he's not losing. And so they basically ran the show as well. So your top guys with, let's say, some ego now have control to run the show that they are on. Doesn't quite make sense.
No.
Plus they're on these fat contracts that are worth, a couple of $1 million because...
A lot of money.
Yeah, so, you're burning money on people who are controlling their own destiny and just ruining the show. You can't fire them. Otherwise you're going to pay all that out.
No.
And that ain't gonna happen. So basically, I'll sum it up. Here's what led WCW to their death. They were stuck in the past with the NWO. They had no new stars because the NWO ran everybody out of the
They were
company.
paying their big shows too much.
Yeah, well, but the NWO, I didn't even talk about that. I think at one point the entire roster was in the NWO. They, if you can't beat
How
them,
can you
join
have
them.
a
That was the thing. Can't beat them, join them.
if everyone's NWO, then no one's NWO.
Oh yes, but then all of a sudden, shit, everybody's NWO. Let's split the NWO into Hollywood and Wolfpack, and now you've got two separate brands. Which
Yeah.
Hogan was on Hollywood and Nash was on Wolfpack, and the Finger Poke of Doom happened, and they just merged back together again. So, yeah. But also, NWO obviously ran creative control of the company. So compared to WWE, we had Vince at the top, right? He says, "You're doing this. You're doing this." People say, "Can I do this?" He goes, "Yeah, actually, that's fine. You do that." "Can I do this?" "No, that's stupid. Piss off." Where WCW's they're like, "I'm doing this. That's stupid. I don't care. I'm doing it." That,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like no one's gonna watch that.
Yeah. So WCW was just all over the shop with booking because everybody could just say, "I'm doing this," and that's what they
Hmm.
did. So you'd start a feud, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, I don't want to work with them. So then you just drop that feud. Um, yeah, it was just you know, Goldberg was a very big name. I'm sure you've heard of Goldberg. He had an undefeated streak. I can't remember how big it was. I didn't write it down, but it's like 100 and something or other wins. Well, they ended that with a cattle prod, so that was stupid. You had the finger poke of
Like
doom. That's stupid. And yeah,
yeah.
just all that sort of shit made the fans watching this go, "Well, why am I watching this again? What is the point
Yeah.
in it?"
Well, because as well, like initially, I can understand why it made sense to give these big stars creative control, because they're the wrestlers who have been doing this a long time, and they might have some good ideas. But like you said, as it gets bigger, that's going to start to cause problems as they have conflicting ideas or just bad ideas. But also at the same time, you're paying them stupid amounts of money. And as you see time and time again in the entertainment industry, when you pay someone a stupid amount of money, it tends to go to their head a little bit and they start getting a little wacky. So when they've also got creative control of the show, they're gonna do some dumb shit.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
they're gonna pull some
yeah,
Kanye-sized stunts.
yeah. Like, there's another thing to look at is with Vince being on top, right? He might not be a wrestler, particularly towards the start of the 90s, or even the 80s, whatever. He's not a wrestler, but he's still at the top. So he goes, here what my ideas are. And
Mm.
then the wrestlers go, "Here's what our ideas are." And he goes, "That one's stupid, that one's stupid, that one's stupid, that one's good, we'll keep that one. That one's stupid, that one's good, that one's good, that one's good." And then
He can.
filters it out.
You've got you've got a creative controller,
Yeah.
be it for better or worse at times. You've
Yes.
got a yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, we've
you've
talked
got
about that
someone
with Roman Reigns being on top when he shouldn't have been.
you've
Like,
got someone uh whose interests are only aligned with the betterment of the show.
yes.
Like for him, like he doesn't care which wrestlers win and lose. He wants that show to get better because that's how he gets paid.
Yeah. So very much sort of like obviously later in Vince's life,
Mm.
he sort of just went, I'm doing this. I don't care what you say. But if you go back to the invasion, right? Paul Heyman, there's a story where he says that him and Vince were going to have a promo battle thing, right? Where Heyman was just going to go off on Vince. Backstage, Heyman says, "How far can I go with this?" And Vince goes, "As far as you want." Okay, I'm going to say some pretty heavy shit.
Fuck
And he
that
goes,
shit.
"Yeah," he goes, "Just, will it make me money? Yes, make me money. That's all he cared about. Make me money. Do you want to know what I'm going to
Mm.
say? No, make me money." That was literally what he told Heyman. Make me money. Over and over again. As long as it made him money, he didn't care. Which, that's Vince for you. But yeah, like we'll say, why would Hogan, being Hogan, want to lose to make his stock go down? When his stock
Yeah,
is giving him hundreds of thousands of dollars.
exactly.
Now,
Exactly. Can't expect
considering,
him to have like a long-term view.
yeah, exactly, yeah. Considering that WCW then died anyway, I don't
Mm.
know how much it helped. But because they were on these contracts, they were guaranteed contracts. So regardless if WCW was still around, they were still getting paid. Like they could sit at home and do nothing and get paid. That's the reason why they
Yeah.
weren't in the invasion.
Yeah.
Because they were on these massive contracts that allowed them to sit there, get paid from Ted Turner, and not do anything.
Shit.
And they were that big that Vince went, I'm not buying that. Why
No.
would I? I could buy his out, but I'm not. Because that's a waste of money. Where I could wait a year and then you're looking for work and we're the only game in town.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I guess I need to fix this somehow. And let's see. I wonder, how do I fix this? Easy.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Do not let the stars have creative. Genius.
Valid.
One thing I didn't
Valid.
actually talk about too is that they did end up signing Vince Russo, who is a name that you won't know. He's a writer, right? He writes a lot of stories. He used to, he was in WWE for a while there. He got fired and went to WCW. Well, no, he didn't get fired. He just jumped ship. He credits himself with creating Stone Cold Steve Austin and a whole bunch of them. He didn't. Vince did. But Jim Cornette, another name that you won't know, has a very, very deep hatred for Vince Russo, which is very funny to see. He has said that he will outlive Vince Russo so that he can stand over his grave and piss on his gravestone, even if that means he has to live to 307.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah, he will do that, right? And that's fine, whatever. Cornette says that Russo, for every 10 ideas Russo had, 9 of them were bad, 1 of them was good. Having Vince at the top, Vince was there to go, that shit, that's good. In WCW, they didn't have that. So Russo's just there going, doing this. And everybody went, okay, all right. So then they
Seems
did that.
weird, but getting paid.
Yeah. So that was the thing though, because he could. He was a writer. So he wrote stories and went, we're doing this. And those who didn't have creative control had to do that. Because they didn't have somebody there saying, no.
Nah, I don't think I will.
So, yeah, anyway. Back to fixing it. So, yes, obviously, do not give your stars creative control. At least full creative control. Give them some so they can put input in and sort of
contribute.
Yeah. But don't give them full creative control where all they're going to do is say, I'm not losing or I am winning the belt. One or the other. Because that's what always happens. Also, When Bret Hart leaves WWE, do something with him. Don't just let him get, you know, retired.
Yeah.
He's a major star. He helped the WWE survive the early '90s. He
It
was
was a
the
chance
person.
to steal a whole bunch of fans
Yep.
that they really squandered.
Oh, you don't know about this next bit because Bret's coming off the Montreal Screwjob. So
Ah,
that is something that we will end this season with. We are going to talk about the Screwjob in depth. So I won't get into it here. But
but
Bret's coming off of that, which Bret being Canadian means that all the Canadian viewers
mm,
are going where he's going.
yeah, because he got screwed over,
Yes.
effectively.
Yeah.
So yeah, so not only did you have a chance to steal a bunch of fans with him, no, the fans were being hand delivered to you with him.
Yep.
All you had to do was,
Not let Goldberg kick him
yeah,
in the head.
yeah,
That's all we had to do. And also another way to fix this is also don't piss the fans off because then the fans won't let don't have somebody go, I'm gonna poke you in the chest and win the belt. That would probably be a bad idea. That would piss the fans off. Also, maybe don't spoil the other show so that people know what's coming up. I get what they did was they thought if we tell them what's going to happen, they won't watch it because
they'll
they know what's
watch
going to happen.
us, but it's just petty. It's kind of sad. Like it's thinly veiled, just wrongness.
Yeah,
It doesn't. Not a lot of people are gonna support that. You know what I mean? Like, when somebody
yeah.
like
Look,
like even if you spoil something and ruin it for someone, yeah, they might not watch that thing, but they're not going to turn around and be like, "Well, I like you now. Thanks for spoiling that." Like,
yeah. But I mean,
people.
when you're in this competitive thing though, like 'cause WCW fans were pretty diehard WCW, WWF were diehard WWF. So
Mhm,
when you sort of got the fans that are up in the air and you go, that's what they're doing, watch us. They might tune
mhm.
into you. But it is 50-50 in that
You
don't
run the
watch,
risk of saying
run the risk of saying
something good.
Mankind's winning the WWE Championship, and
Don't
everybody
watch
goes,
it.
yeah, and everybody's thinking, oh shit, I want to watch that.
Yeah.
Like, I, yeah, it's 50-50. You could say that, let's pull two names out of the hat. Um, Dean Malenko's going to lose to Triple H. Everybody's just going to go, no shit, Sherlock. And that's fine. But when you say Mankind's winning the world title, everybody's going to go, oh, hang on. That's
That's
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah. No, yeah. It's 50-50. You can see what they went for, but it just backfired. So you can't complain too much about that because
Mm.
it worked for a few weeks at least. But yeah. So yeah, that's how I would fix WCW. What do you think?
I only have one thing to add,
Yep.
and that is those ridiculously big contracts that they had their main stars on need to be brought down a few pegs so that they can, I'm not assuming that they didn't bring in new talent just because they were paying the big guys so much, but I'm sure that it possibly had something to, like it could have had something to do with it. Um, yeah, along with your creative control and whatnot. But I guess what I'm saying is, yeah, they were paying these, those three guys so much, or your larger characters so much money. You have to use them. You have to make them the stars. You have to keep using them because you're paying them so much money.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, if you're paying them a bit less, you're not so scared to bring in some new people, which would have kept it alive, like you've already said.
Yeah. So yeah, I get what you're saying with the contracts being too big.
Mm,
However, if you are keeping them around and you've got the money to pay them that money, you could just keep paying them that.
exactly,
You
I
know,
suppose.
I
Yeah.
mean, given that they know what they're worth, because they do, if you're not giving them full creative control, they're probably going to want more money. That's the other thing, too.
Yeah.
You're already paying them so much, but they're probably going to want more because they're not getting exactly what they want. So, like,
They're
yeah, I get what you mean.
doing what you tell them to.
You know, and that's the other thing, though, because it all lost, so they'll pay them money for no reason because they'll just sit to know. If they're still there working, what does it matter?
Well, that's true. That's true.
So yeah, I don't think that really changes how WCW died because it's more about the creative control than the money. Because like they ran out of money. It's not like ECW who just ran out of money. But
right.
yeah, like yeah,
they died because they lost viewership.
Yeah.
They died because they lost their fans, not because they ran out of cash.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah. Well, that's been it for this episode. Like, share, subscribe, share, hit notification bell, follow Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. Links to those are in the description. I keep saying Twitter even though it's X, but I'm going to keep saying Twitter anyway.
I don't think anyone's going to, yeah.
Yeah, and I've been doing it for years now. It's just going to keep happening. Yeah, let me know what you thought of the video in the comment section. Also, let me know how you would try to fix WCW in the comment section as well. And other than that, thanks for watching. Sid, say goodbye.
Bye.
And good night.